Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning in to real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the WCFL DolFans Talk. Hope everyone's having a wonderful weekend. I'm on my way home from Georgia to Central Florida. Had a wedding weekend and enjoyed myself. Don't know how long the show's going to be. We've been having technical difficulties getting my rest of my panel on here and stuff, so just me for now. Need to make the announcement that if you haven't heard, Teron Armstead has officially retired. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Patrick Paul will be stepping in, taking his place. And it's a matter of, who we're going to draft, what position, and even, if we're going to get another quarterback or what. There's a lot of talk that our backup quarterback's going to possibly give a fight for. Hold on, here we go. Mr. Russell Hopman, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
I'm above ground and upright. That's all that matters, brother.
Yes, sir.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm good. And yourself?
Good. Just heading home. I'm on the road, so I might cut in and out some.
Yeah, I did hear you say you were coming back from Georgia.
Yeah, my nephew got married this weekend.
Oh, congrats.
So Teron Armstead has officially retired now. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we kind of figured he was, because, for him to give up that much salary, obviously, when you get that retirement in your head, it's hard to get it out. And, it's Paul's time now. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely Patrick Paul's time, and hopefully he can step. He's got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, Armstead was a good player. The last few years he started getting banged up, but he had a good run.
When he was in, he was great.
Continue on I-75 South.
He was a great player when he was in, but he got hurt a lot in the last couple of years, and it was hard for him to stay in the game.
And it's understandable. That's a physical position, left tackle in the NFL. You're playing against a lot of speed rushes. You're playing against power rushes. It's a lot.
Yeah. Haven't heard a whole lot of other news going on.
Well, I mean, outside of, in a few weeks, the draft, I mean, we can go through our heads about positions. We can go through a lot of different sequences of what we need, what we don't need. I'm still on the belief that we should trade back a few spots. I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there. So, I mean, we definitely need a lot of positions addressed.
Yeah, well, it's not. We don't really need to go picking up another tackle. Not in the first round anyway.
That's why I say we should probably trade back outside of whoever your number one guy on your board is. So
Yeah,
I say trade back. I mean, right now we have holes at corner, we have holes at the defensive tackle, we have a hole at safety. So, I mean, if you get one of those three positions in the first round, you can get some extra picks in a trade back. So we'll see.
yeah. That's all we can do is wait and see.
Yeah, there's a couple of names that are out there that are, piquing my interest.
Morning, Steve. Welcome to the panel.
What's up, guys?
Morning, Steve.
How you
doing,
doing
Russell?
this morning?
Very good. Yourself?
I'm all right.
What you got to talk about with us this morning?
Well, like the draft, the whole football thing and whatever. Like I said, one thing that I learned over the years with the draft is never like it's always everything's always about the first round. Everybody's worried about these first round picks. I mean, they're nice and whatever, but like for one, I'm glad that like I don't think I would ever want my team to have the first pick overall because with the they don't get the money as they once did like back in the day, if you guys remember. But see, there's where players become a bust and so forth. And like I said, and I never really fall in love with like any of the players. Like I just hope like whatever we get, whatever happens. I mean, I have no control over it. And but if you have some sort of sensitivity of what your team should do, is the only thing that you should hope for. Like the position is best player available or need, and so forth. But the later rounds is where I noticed where a lot of the gems, a lot of the diamonds in the rough come out. It's not always this first round pick.
You're definitely right there, Steve. You find a lot of your depth and a lot of the hidden gems in the later rounds. I mean, usually the teams in the top 5 to 6, they have to go out on a limb, bust or boom. And
Yeah.
like the Dolphins, we definitely need defensive help on the defensive front. We need a safety, we need a corner, and a decent guard. So you definitely have to draft on need. There's no doubt about that.
Good morning, Shake Money. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing, man?
What's going on,
Wonderful,
Shay?
wonderful. How are
For
you
sure.
doing?
Living the dream, baby. Living the dream.
Yep, I'm on my way home from Georgia. I'm already planning to come up here for the Georgia game when we play Atlanta next year. Making it a family affair. My brother, my brother-in-law, my nephews, we're all going to go to the game.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go to the Pittsburgh game, depending on what time of year it lands.
Yeah. Well, we got about a month to go, and we'll find out.
Yeah, that's up here in my neck of the woods. I'm like 30 minutes away from Pittsburgh.
Well, I'll definitely be at the Patriots game because I live in Massachusetts, so I'll definitely be at that game.
You got any news for us, Shake Money, besides Sharon Armstead's retirement?
Oh no, Zach Wilson isn't the starter. But that's the whole new craze. Everybody thinks that he's gonna all of a sudden, be the next Tom Brady. Listen, I'm not doubting him. I'm not gonna say he's a bust or a terrible quarterback, but I'm also not gonna overhype him either.
Well, and I agree with you on that. I'm not going to say he's a terrible quarterback. He got drafted in the NFL, so you can't be a terrible quarterback if you drafted in the NFL. You just may not necessarily make it in the NFL, but you're still a good quarterback.
He's gonna be perfect right where he is on the bench because our system is an RPO system. He's not an RPO quarterback. I mean, he's okay. If we're counting on him, then our season's over. If we protect Tua and we run the ball, we'll be fine.
Well, the system that Mike McDaniels and Shanahan like to run, he ran. He typically runs. Remember, when he went to the Jets his rookie year, Matt LaFleur ran a similar offense that Mike McDaniel ran in San Francisco.
Yeah,
That's why
something, Shake, similar don't matter. There's certain pieces of the puzzle you can put together. He's not an RPO type of guy. The perfect guy for our system would have been Mariota. But of course, the Dolphins front office lowballs these free agents, and we didn't get these type of guys. I'm not saying that he can't be decent, but with our offense,
but we're not really running an RPO. We're running a West Coast offense.
Yeah, but it's a run pass option. Sure, what's his name? Tua doesn't run, but that would be the type of offense they're providing. That we want a wide right set with a wide zone run. He's not good in the wide zone run. He played at BYU. It's mainly drop back. He was a one-hit wonder in a sense because he had one great year at BYU and everybody jumped on the bandwagon. But there's a lot of guys like that. And like you guys have said, I'm not going to bash the guy. I mean, he's decent. We'll see. But I say if we build up our line and we run the ball more, it takes a lot of pressure off of Tua also, rather than we have that hero mentality. We got to hit on the passes all the time because we've become so predictable with the tight end screen to Jonnu Smith, third and short. We're doing bubble screens to Tyreek Hill or quick slants to Waddle. We got to get away from that. We got to be able to pound the ball and be physical, and then that offense opens up even more.
Yeah, or like I said before, when we're third and short, he's brought the ball 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Terrible.
On third and short. How many times he's done that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Shake.
No, I said, how many times has he done that crap?
The sad thing with that is we've become so predictable that our offense has become stale, that everybody and their mother knows what's going to happen. We attacked early in the season because obviously September and October, it presents those things because the weather's better. But the moment those leaves turn brown, November, where you have to be able to pound the ball and take teams' will away, we can't do it. Your mentality of your team is third and short, we're throwing the ball. Fourth and short, we're throwing the ball. Second and short, we're throwing the ball.
Yeah. And another element that goes to that in September, remember, a lot of new defenses aren't gelling together. So by the time October, November hits, their defenses are starting to gel and get chemistry together because there's a lot of turnover in the NFL nowadays. It's a lot more than what was back in the 90s.
Definitely. Especially, too, with our team based on speed. You would swear we're going for the 400-meter relay because we're a track team. That track team stuff don't work when the ground's hot and it's cold and there's snow and there's heavy rain. You got to be able to pound the ball. You got to be able to push people around. And if you pick any of the contenders in the AFC and think we can beat them, you're delusional. We're not beating Baltimore. We're not beating Pittsburgh. We're not beating Buffalo. We're not beating Kansas City. We're not beating the Chargers. Yeah, we might get them in September and October in the decent weather, but put your season on the line late November, December against one of them, and you think we're going to come out on top?
Oh, yeah. And we're going to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. It's going to be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, depending on the time of year. Like I said, I'm just saying that if hypothetically We need a go-to type of game that you have to win to make the playoffs, or have to win to get a seed, or have to win to get a better position in November,
Yeah.
December, in Buffalo, in Kansas City, in Denver.
And right now, Pittsburgh ain't got no quarterback.
That's now. A lot can change.
Right.
Yeah, but Pittsburgh proven they could win without a quarterback.
Pittsburgh's mentality is a physical mentality. It makes me laugh when you, like my brothers, all of them are Steelers fans, and they scream and holler about the Steelers every single year. But who wouldn't, as a Dolphin fan, want to be in the position where we're making the playoffs every year? I don't care that they lose. They're in the playoffs. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Just think about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Who in
Again,
Miami wouldn't want that?
Dude, Pittsburgh is the picture perfect team of a quarterback away from making noise.
Well, I'm surprised. Like I'm waiting for it to happen, but I'm waiting as, like I said, a lot of us. I go on a lot of the a few Packer podcasts, and we all sit there and said that in the later rounds we see us drafting a quarterback because we feel that someone's going to offer us a trade for Malik Willis. I mean, the boy can throw, he can run. I mean, he should in a way he can get the job done. He might not be a true number one, but then again, you never know. He shows that he has the potential and so forth. And that somewhere down the line, a lot of us Packer fans feel that some team out there is going to offer us a trade for Malik Willis.
I think you guys are going to probably move Jair Alexander, probably, at some point, probably by draft day. And then, man, maybe Malik Willis does get snatched up by somebody he'd be a decent number 2 somewhere.
Would you guys like him?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, they just signed Zach Wilson, and then I think the Dolphins later rounds, maybe 5th, 6th, they're going to draft a rookie, a developmental guy. Like I hope they draft maybe Cook from Missouri, or maybe McCord from Syracuse in the 5th or 6th round. I wouldn't be at all upset about that.
Like I sit there and see on a lot of the chat sports things that there's these rumors that we are going to make a trade with you guys for Tyreek Hill.
That's not going to happen.
I know that. I know that. I'm just seeing there's a lot of it roaming around out there about that, and I laugh.
You know the only reason why it can't happen? Because the Dolphins can't trade a guy for draft picks this season, and we'd get stuck with the salary cap money, and nobody, even Green Bay, is not going to take on that money. There's no way.
Yeah, I remember it was the Chargers even before the season ended.
Yeah, it was a bunch of teams,
Yeah.
That's just to get people thinking, like I was telling the guys last week, when you see these teams, like these next 7 to 10 days, they're having all these rookies come visit their training facilities and, draft prospects. And like the other day, they said the Dolphins had in the defensive tackle from Texas, and Alfred, whatever's Griffin, I can't remember his last name. But they do that for smokescreen, because obviously if you're picking 1 through 10, you're not going to let a team know exactly what you want. That makes absolutely no sense, and it takes away your value of your possibly trading out of your pick and getting more picks.
Because like I said, I don't know if we're going to stay at 23, if we're going to trade up, because there's talk and rumor that at McMillan's pro day, Gutekunst was the only GM there at his pro day, the receiver out of Arizona.
Yeah, he's a good receiver.
If he falls somehow back anywhere from 15 to 20, I can see us making a move to trade up to get him. But if he doesn't fall back that far, whatever, then, if, well, like I said, either the team's going to take him up that high, but I don't see us trading up. He's going to have to at least fall to 15 to 20 for Goody to at least make a move to trade up to get him. But if not, we could stay at 23, take a guy like Kevin Grant out of Michigan, the defensive lineman.
Of Michigan, yeah.
No, a lot is dependent on what we're going to do with Jair. Now, we lost a lot of secondary. Like Eric Stokes. Now we got Nate Hobbs from the Raiders. That was more like a trade if you think about it, because Eric Stokes went to the Raiders. We got Nate Hobbs. Robert Rochelle went to Kansas City. Corey Ballantyne went to the Colts. And so forth. So, like, depending on what shakes down with Jair, if he stays, don't know. If he gets traded, we're going to need a quarter. But then again, I don't know if that would happen, depending on how the board falls. I don't know at 23 if there's, unless it's Jadab Barron from Texas. On it, Will Johnson's no way falling that far. There's no way he's falling that far. But other than that, then that's when I could see us trading back to maybe close to the end of the first round, picking up some picks, and then maybe grabbing our corner or whatever.
Steve, the interesting thing about the draft is going to be funny. There are always going to be two guys that are going to go in the top 10 that are overvalued by teams. So somebody like that may fall to you, and you might not even have to move, because there's going to be somebody that is going to be a head scratcher. Somebody in the top 10 is going to obviously draft somebody that's going to push a player back, that somebody maybe a 13 or a 15 or a 17 wasn't expecting.
Right.
And then there will be teams that'll overvalue certain people that'll be like, oh, we have to grab him. And maybe the guy that you weren't expecting may fall to you. Like, I like Green Bay. Maybe if they do draft receiver, how about Ekuba from Ohio State?
I don't. See, we need a true number one. We need a true outside. Because, see, Christian Watson ain't going to be back till, like, November.
So you think McMillan from Arizona is a true number one?
Well, none of these guys are really, because you can't say that because nobody knows how they got. Because the thing is, there's another.
I figured out how to get in.
If it was us, if it was me, I wouldn't mind
We'll go a different way.
trading back a little bit, get either a corner or an edge, whatever, picking up some extra picks. Because another receiver that I love in this draft is Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, and we could get him in the second round.
Real quick, guys, I want to welcome Cap for Life and Johnny O to the panel.
Can you hear me?
Good morning,
guys.
Johnny O.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Gentlemen, good morning, gentlemen.
I had to go in a different way. StreamYard wasn't letting me in.
Yeah, Steve.
I'll
you
be
had
right
some
back, fellas, so keep going without me.
Okay, Steve, you had some valid points. I mean, Green Bay could possibly trade back and get their corner, depending. I mean, the draft is like the lottery sometimes. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I mean, there's going to be somebody in the top 10. We've spoken about this a few times where somebody that you don't expect is going to be drafted in the top 10 that may have been like a 18 to 25 type of guy, and then somebody overvalued somebody. So, I mean, who's to say you sit tight and get what you want? I mean, because everybody's draft boards are different. Like the Dolphins, we need a corner, we need defensive line help, we need a safety. I mean, so somebody's going to overvalue somebody. It's going to happen. There might be two guys. It all depends on the Shedeur Sanders thing also. I mean, everybody is like, oh, he's going to be a top this. You don't know that. I mean, he could be top 5. He could be middle 15 to 25. You don't know that. So somebody's going to overvalue somebody.
And I agree. And another thing with the draft too is the fact that some players, they're not bust, but it takes them longer to develop than certain players. Some players come right out the gate and make noise, and there's some players that need more time to develop and turn into that player that they're gonna turn into eventually.
Like me, like you, Shake, like Johnny O, like Saul, like Steve. We all have a perspective of what we think our team needs. But sometimes teams go against the grain. We could all be sitting here saying, hey, we need a defensive tackle. Hey, we need a safety. We need a corner. And then the Dolphins go and draft Dolphins. And then we're doing head scratching things. And it depends on other teams ahead of us. We can't pick ahead of us unless we trade ahead of us. So if somebody at number 5 says, hey, we want this guy, and it might have been your number 1 guy on your board, I don't want to take the 4th guy on our board. I would rather trade back and then draft for depth, obviously, and then still fill the needs that you have, but add picks. Because right now, if you look at the Dolphins lineup, we bargain basement shopped in free agency. We definitely need depth. We need youth, and we need, in our first 4 picks, our first 4 rounds, we need 3 starters. I'm not talking about Pro Bowl guys, but we need steady, contributing starters.
Yeah, for me, man, I feel like it's a point in time right now where, against the grain is a good way of putting it. But when have we gone towards the grain and just go after the best player available or best or player position of need? And like you said, we go against the grain. So do you trust a general manager who's gone against the grain more than he has hit on players? Do you trust him moving down with the capital that we have now? I mean, it's a far-gone conclusion because he's going to be here. But this draft, do you trust him? And do you not let Marvin Allen and Champ Kelly have some say in that war room this year, knowing that Greer has 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Believe what you want to hear.
I would prefer both of those guys having an input, because Greer preferably drafts guys that are usually injured. So don't be surprised he goes and drafts someone that you're going to scratch your head and say, rather than getting the input from these 2 guys who are player personnel guys, which I would rather have him do. If we stay at 13, depending, like I said, we got to fill our needs. But I mean, I wouldn't have no problem taking the best player available, providing he's not beat up and banged up like he's normally done.
Now, with that being said, I don't think we're going to stay at 13 after the news last night.
No, I don't think so. I think if we trade back a few spots and get more picks, I can live with that. But providing we fill a position of need, I don't see us making a move. Like, say hypothetically, we're at 13, we trade back 3 spots to 16 with Arizona. Just say them for kicks and giggles. Yeah. And then we go and draft a position like tight end or running back. That's not what you need. And I don't care that, this guy's the best at his position and he's the best available. We have to draft guys that are going to help us immediately, because it doesn't make sense to go add another weapon, but yet you can't block for the quarterback that you have, that you paid.
Or block for the running backs you already got.
Yes.
Yeah.
And part of the problem is when like we have 6 people on this panel, and I realize one's a Packers fan, but if we look at the roster, each one of us can say, well, I'd rather have this guy or this guy or this guy. And that's where social media comes into it, because, I could say, listen, we need an offensive guard with our first pick. Some people are going to agree. Some are going to disagree. So if they go and take an offensive guard, somebody like myself is going to say, all right, we got what we needed. But other people are going to say, yeah, but we didn't address the defensive line or corner or safety. So that's the whole thing. That's why I'm the wait and see guy. Wait and see who they draft. We'll talk about them when they draft. We have no control over that. We're not in the war room. We don't get to have a say. They're not watching us.
No, but I mean, to your point, Johnny, like, I know, like you say, everybody on this panel probably knows by now. I mean, offensive line, if you're going to fix it now once and for all, and stop letting us go out through the season having a debate about the offensive line for 20 years in a row. If you're going to fix it, and you're in the hot seat, if you're not in the hot seat, regardless of what people are saying, just fix it if you know it needs to be fixed. Just go ahead and do it. That's it.
Yeah,
but our
we did.
problem is Greer doesn't know that it needs to be fixed. Remember 2 years ago, he came out and said, "Oh, the fans are more worried about the offensive line than we are."
He got flambasted for that, and he had to act like he was stuck on stupid after that, and he had to swallow his words in a way where he didn't want to swallow.
No,
So
I agree, but it's still when we're not in that war room, so we don't know what the conversations are. Maybe McDaniel was saying, "Hey, we need offensive line," and Greer's like, "No, we're fine." And then they both got to come out to the media and say, "No, we're good. Don't worry about it." And then this past year, we have 17 games, 13 times we had a different starting five in the offensive line.
Yeah, and then people want to complain about the O-line as like a scapegoat, and I get tired of that, man. Especially when these guys are rotating, doing everything they can to cater to the quarterback, and people are still not happy about the O-line. Just fix it.
You know what the problem with that is too. We see, if you have a set of eyes, you can tell the offensive line needs help. We draft on finesse. We draft on speed. I've sat here. Johnny's have sat here. You have sat here and said, we need this, we need this, we need this. We definitely need the offensive line fixed. It don't take Ray Charles to see that. And I've said that the Dolphins should draft Booker, the guy from Alabama, at 13. Everybody was like, oh, well, it doesn't sound like the shiny toy, but it's a need that will get filled. And I'm guaranteeing that if the Dolphins draft this kid, he will be a Pro Bowler and a plug-in starter for a long time. And then you address that hole.
Well, see, that's like what we did, and I'm glad when we went and got Aaron Banks and we lost, and Josh Myers went to the Jets. Now, we moved Jenkins in the center. We got a new left guard. So I think our offensive line right now on paper and everything looks better than what it was last year. It looks better than last year. Now, the right guard position, Sean Ryan played decent, okay, whatever. But now they're saying that our first pick from last year, Morgan, he's healthier and he looks like he's ready to step up. But see, that's just all on paper. But what I want to ask you guys is, if you guys just say if it would happen, let's just say it happened, would you guys be happy with Hunter?
Would the Dolphins if the Dolphins got Travis Hunter?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be happy.
And
because
why?
he's
Now,
a
let me ask
generational
why.
talent and he can play the other corner. We wouldn't need him as much on offense till if, say, Tyreek Hill left, then you could plug him in with Waddle. But he could definitely start opposite Jalen Ramsey. Who wouldn't want that?
Right.
And you could put him in. You could put him in situational on the offense. Situational, you could put him in.
But I don't want to.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a no-brainer. If somehow he's sitting there at 13, you have to take him because of his talent on both sides of the ball.
I would actually say this to anybody who has eyes and ears. If we could trade up to 3 and not mortgage our future forever and ever to get Travis Hunter, I would do it.
But would you let him play both positions?
I would let him play an offensive package here and there, but I'm definitely playing him starting corner full time to go opposite Ramsey.
Okay.
Well, see, the only problem with him is we don't know what he wants to do. Does he want to play more receiver than corner? Does he want to play more corner than receiver?
That's why
that's a conversation the team has to have with him and figure it out. Whoever's
if I'm that young man and I know I'm going to be a top 3 talent, I'm not going to try to get back into the top 10. Hell no, I'm going to want my money at top 3 contract, residuals and everything else that comes with being in the NFL draft. If you're telling me I'm going to go top 3, you're not going to take that money away from me.
And that's the thing. There's no way in heck I think he's falling to 13. I don't even think he would make it past 5. I live in Massachusetts, and they're hoping to God that
snatch his ass up in a heartbeat at 4.
Yeah, they would take him in a minute. They would take him in a blink of an eye. I honestly think, just my opinion, I think he's going to end up either 2 at the Browns or 3 at the Giants. He's not going past the top 3. He's obviously not going to be number 1 because the Titans will draft Ward. But he's not going past 3. He's not.
Will any team trade up?
I mean, if you're going to mortgage your future, it depends on who the teams are and what they got to trade.
I'm not saying anyone out of the top 10. I'm saying anyone from 1 to 10 could.
Let me tell you this. Look, the year that Deion Jordan came out, that draft class was nonchalant. They had, I think it was Tyler Eifert and I think it was like another wide receiver from West Virginia, and that was about it. And we traded all the way to number 3 to get, I believe it was number 3 to get Deion Jordan in that draft class. And that year was not a high class, bunch of draft capital in that year. So I mean, if Greer wants to save his ass, and they're saying he's not going to be in the hot seat regardless, if you want to cater to the fans and you want to do something like that, I can see them doing that.
But I mean, think about this too. How would that only cater to us? That would help the team out dramatically because you're going to fill that hole, that corner, and then eventually Tyreek Hill's going to leave. Then you could put Hunter in that receiver too.
I would think, yeah. But I mean, like you said, against the grain.
Now, what do you mean Tyreek Hill is going to leave?
He's going to retire. He's not playing 5 more years. It ain't happening.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you think he's going to get traded.
Well, he's under contract till 2028. So
yeah, but he's not playing until 2028.
Yeah, he is. He's got a lot of child support to pay.
Yeah, well, that sounds all well and good, but they gave him his money up front, Johnny, each year, so he's getting his money up front.
Yeah, but he still got. Listen, when you got that many kids and you got to pay child support, the judge doesn't care that you have 8 kids already, 9 kids. You go in and they say, "Oh, this is what you make. This is what you're paying this one."
But you know the funny thing, Johnny, you know what he's already done? He's already paid people off where they don't have to bother him anymore. And he's made generational wealth for these ladies, so it ain't gonna matter.
Who's your guys' best running back in this draft?
Who's the best running back I think in the draft?
Yeah, if you was able to select one, who would it be?
I'd take Amari and Hampton.
Hampton?
I'm biased. I go with Martinez.
Well, because you're a Florida guy. He's Miami Hurricane. No, I'd say Hampton because he's more versatile. He does receiving and he can run the ball, and he's bigger than the GNT, and he's bigger than a lot of the backs. He's going to be a steal.
When I saw GNT, I think it was his pro day. You know who he reminded me of?
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Eddie Lacy.
You think so?
Yep.
For the Packers, he's way faster than Eddie Lacy.
Well, I understand the speed, but there was just something there that reminded. And a lot of people also said that he reminded them of Trent Richardson.
No, he reminds me more of LaDainian Tomlinson. He's like really shifty, smooth runner. He can catch the ball. I mean, you got to remember too, everything looks great when you're in college. I mean, it depends on your line. We look at Jalen Wright, classic example. He ran the ball like incredible for Tennessee. He got behind our line. He didn't get no opportunities, didn't get no chances. So I mean, it depends on your system too. You gotta block for these guys, obviously, and that's what I had said about us drafting a guy. It don't sound like the shiny toy under the Christmas tree, but it's something that you definitely need. And I'm not saying at 13 we have to draft Book of the God, but if we can trade back and still get him and get extra picks, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Which running back you like best out of Ohio State?
At Ohio State, Judkins.
Jenkins, okay, me too.
Judkins, yeah, Judkins.
Yeah.
You know what it is? He doesn't have the wear and tear like Henderson has. That's why.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the hard part, and I say it all the time, when it comes to the draft, you're drafting off of kids playing in college where a very small percentage of these guys make it to the NFL, and then you're hoping when they get to the NFL that their talent transcends, that they have the heart to be in the game, that they're going to study, that they can study and understand what's going on. And that's why you have busts. You know, some of these guys just don't have the heart or don't have the capability of learning something different than what they were already doing. And they come into the NFL and they're not what you expected. And other guys come in with a lot more heart and learning ability and can transition from the college to the pro game.
You know, Johnny, you know what the key word with that is, Johnny? Commitment.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody can be talented. Everybody who makes it into a draft is talented. You know, it's all about what you put ahead of things. A lot of distractions generally tend to get these guys off track. And I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure South Beach has a lot of distractions.
Hell yeah, they do.
So, with that being said, I mean, if we drafted A or B or C, you got to be in the books. It's similar to school. You can't skip algebra for 7 months and then go in and take a test and say, "Yeah, I know everything."
That's another excuse that's starting to like really irk me too. You want to blame the South Beach. You want to blame the offensive line, They want to blame everything that correlates to anything revolving the offense producing. The defense was the majority of the time on South Beach as well, getting into problems. So my thing is, McDaniel and Raheem Mostert brought this up on the Dolphin Dive Bar. Shout out to Bobby Shouse and everybody on the Dive Bar, bro. Raheem Mostert pretty much said McDaniel needs to take control of this team.
Oh,
McDaniel
absolutely.
last year did not take control of this team whatsoever.
You know
And
what the
it came
funny
to
thing
the
is?
point
I'm sorry.
where you start watching episodes of Hard Knocks, and you start watching the first episode of Hard Knocks, you see a basketball hoop in the meeting room. So that just dictates to me that the coach thinks this is a museum or not even a museum of art, like a freaking Chuck E. Cheese at this point. You got slides inside the weight room. You got basketball hoops in the meeting room, like barbershops and video games inside the hallway. I mean, sooner or later, these guys need to realize they're not in college anymore, man. This is a pro-athletic environment.
But
And the coach needs to put that into account and implement that ASAP.
And I'm 100% behind you with that. But did you hear what the word I had said? It's about commitment. If you ain't committed and you got all your everything else, the extracurriculars, you're not going to win. And I'm not saying that South Beach.
All these kids are committed because they've done it since Pee Wee. But my thing is, if you're going to be in an environment where you have to be grown, you have to have a grown coach to take care of those type of situations where these kids know where they're at. They're not in Green Bay.
You got to remember, you're talking about a coach.
Shula didn't put up with that shit. I'm sorry, Shula didn't put up with that crap. Shula would send guys out there and say, hey, if they're at the club, go get them. Let me know if they're there, and then tomorrow I'll deal with them.
But you got to remember too, with Shula and even after that, there's three things that are totally different with that. There's social media now. There's social media where these kids have to be on TikTok, all the stuff that has nothing to do with football.
Philadelphia has the same social media, and their coach don't play. And now Philly loves it.
Listen, I'm from Massachusetts. You don't think the coach that they had here for all those years played? That's why they were committed to win.
Yeah, of course, but Bill always stayed quiet. He didn't cater to social media's influence.
But I'm saying he ran a tight ship.
Exactly. The same way
McDaniel wants to be
or not with Flores. Flores kept his mouth shut and those guys played. My thing is, you need a coach in a year where you don't know who the hell's going to be the leader on this team. The coach needs to be the leader once and for all and end that.
Well, you got to remember too, the Dolphins coaching is like a country club. You got your coach worrying about a Louis Vuitton backpack and the brand new Air Force Ones and all the dumb shit.
That's all cosmetic stuff that has nothing to do with football. And that's the problem with the fan base. The fan base are worried more about the beach, F1 formula, and having to be seen as opposed to winning.
Yep. Hey, cousin, I've been a fan since 1970. I'm 61 years old. I've been inside the Dolphins locker room. My uncle was a former coach under Dave Wanstead. He was a defensive line coach. Clarence Brooks, rest his soul. My cousin Glenn Pyers was a linebacker coach. I've been around these guys. And you know, the funny thing about the commitment is different now than it was then. The guys today are more concerned about, I'm going to be in videos. I got all these other distractions rather than, like you said, being committed to worrying about football slides, and videos, and boat trips. Bro,
at the end of the day, focus about the playbook, not the phone. And that's pretty simplistic, but the guys don't do it because they don't have the coaching staff to let them know, hey, get off the phone and stick to the books. And that's just a fact.
Well,
because you see McDaniel dressed up more in the Louis stuff than you do the players.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. It's about commitment. If the coach is not committed, then why would the players be? Because the coach is more laissez-faire. I'm having a good time. Or we're going to all have a good. He wants to be their buddy rather than their bully.
Well, I think that's how McDaniel coaches. He wants to be their friend, their buddy. He doesn't want to have riffles and rifts and, guys being upset with him. And he cares too much about guys liking him than he does being their coach.
And that's why we're going to be mediocre till the mentality of that team changes. And that's why I said by drafting physical guys, that no nonsense. We're not a track team. This ain't the Olympic gold medalists. We don't have to race people and get all that stuff that has nothing to do with winning games in November and December. Well, till we change that mentality, we're going to be at this 7 and 8, 9 win type seasons, all these high expensive free agents. But then a team like the Denver Broncos, who we beat 70-30, beat the brakes off of them, are better than us presently.
And they got their quarterback.
Yeah.
And they got youth on their side. And they're not going out of their way to, I got to give 90 dudes top dollar, and then the rest of the team's bargain basement shopping at the dollar store.
When you have a head coach that gets pissed off, like to me, I'm a diehard Notre Dame fan, and I remember Lou Holtz back in the day. He went out on the field, grabbed the player by the face mask, took him off the sideline, and let him have it. He let him have it, and that to me is what I love about a coach. You know, like he doesn't play any games. He's like letting you know, whatever. And to me, that's what a head coach should be like, and so forth.
Mike McDaniel would never do that. He's like Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. He's he won't do that. He's softer than cotton candy. Like John said, he'd rather be a buddy. He wants no frills, no ruffles, feathers. He wants to be everybody's friend. It's go, 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 and then I'll be okay with it.
Do you guys have tight end?
I love the guys. Hey, the guy has a mentality of I want to attack on offense. I love that. But don't come out with a shirt that says, I wish it was colder. Then I see you dressed up in like
bundled up,
double the amount of layers of clothing over in Kansas City, and then double the amount of layer the year after that on the road. You double down on the clothes. And then you want to tell me I wish it was colder.
Do you guys
that's all sales.
Do you guys have like a star tight end?
Yeah, we got Jonnu Smith.
And I can't believe people want to knock on Jonnu. Like if Jonnu didn't help last season, like if he comes into this season, I would start him number one. I don't care.
Well, he is number one. Smythe is gone. Jonnu's really the only one there.
Yeah, all this stuff about trying to experiment with trying to get a tight end in the first round. Come on, man. We can get Arroyo late. Arroyo's a beast too, bro. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be biased again. But I'm trying to be objective to the point where if we need a tight end, you can get that later on.
Absolutely. We don't need a tight end. If we draft a tight end in the first round, we're winning 4 games this year.
Oh, John, don't be surprised. Like I said, all these people, all these quote unquote delusional fans will want, Tyler Warren from Penn State. Tyler Warren, if he fell to the Dolphins. Yeah, he's a good blocker, but so what? It's not a need that we need. We got Jonnu Smith really good.
Even if he blocked, that's a reach. That's a stretch. You got Jonnu there. Let him play a full season.
Yep, Jonnu had a hell of a year. Outside of Jonnu Smith, the only offensive weapon that played well was Achane. And other than that, everybody was subpar. I don't want...
And that's a good point. Who took over when Tua got hurt after the half of the season? Both of those guys. That was their main offensive production.
Yep. You remember the Jets game. He took over that game. He had no catches in the first 3 quarters. Took over that game, and we won in overtime because of that kid. So everybody screaming and hollering. If we want a tight end, get Mason Taylor in the 3rd or 4th round, or maybe Arroyo, like you said.
That is established, but you're willing to take that gamble late, not too early in a year that's supposed to be a Super Bowl window year, and now we're being told it's a soft rebuild without telling us.
Yeah.
Come on, we already knew it was a soft rebuild. We saw it coming when we had 28 free agents at the end of the year.
Yep.
And then when free agency started, you rearranged all this money to sign people. Who'd you sign? You ain't signed nothing.
And shout out to Dolphins Talk. Dolphins Talk pretty much says we got money to spend. We got more than $15 million, but we're not touching it right now.
Yeah, because $8 million of it goes to your draft class. And then, like I said, you know what the funny thing is? I was reading the other day. The Dolphins lowballed Calais Campbell. They offered him $2 million to come back. $2 million.
Well, no, that's another thing that they shout out to Alan Poupart and Dave Hyde. They broke it down, saying that pretty much the compensatory pick formula only allows us to get players past maybe $3 million. We can't go past 3 because the compensatory pick aspect doesn't allow us to get picks back for next season. Which that baffles me too. If you're going to get rid of Calais and not sign him, and we're going to get back compensatory picks in the 4th round for next season, then what the hell are we doing this season?
Rebuilding.
Yeah, they're not saying it, but it's a rebuild. I mean, anybody with eyes can see that.
Listen, I'm sticking to it. Right now, with the roster we have, we're winning 5 or 6 games.
How many picks you guys have?
10.
11.
No, we
had
have
to get
10.
one back.
Oh, no, we had 11, and then they took it away because the NFL
No, we didn't have 11. They screwed up when they gave us the 11th. It was never actually there. We knew going in we had 10 picks.
Yeah. So we got to do what we can with those 10. And Greer cannot hit. I'm sorry. And I don't want to say this because it's pretty much obvious, but a home run you cannot hit. You got to hit a grand slam in the draft.
In our first four picks, we have to get 3 starters right off the bat. I'm not saying superstar starters. I'm saying functional, rotational. Nope. We need guys that are plug and play, and they're going to help us. If we go into this draft in the first four,
you need proven, not project.
Yep. We go into this draft in 4 rounds, our first 4 picks, and we end up with 1 starter, we're in trouble. We have to have 3 starters. I don't care whether it's corner, whether it's defensive tackle, whether it's guard, whether it's safety. We have to have 3 of the 4 starters. And that 4th guy, the 4th round guy, has to be a contributor.
Yeah. And
we need 3 starters.
If they have growing pains, so what? Play them, because I want to know what our GM picked. I want to see. I don't want to have them on the bench and say, oh, next year I want to see. No, I want to see this year.
Well, that's the thing, too. We drafted Cam Smith, 2nd round. We drafted Channing Tindall, 3rd round. What have they done? Absolutely nothing.
We haven't seen him a full season.
That's right. We haven't seen nothing.
Full season. We haven't seen him in back-to-back games.
Yeah. So we need a guy that's going to contribute. Like I said, this is a make or break draft. I mean, I'm not saying we have to draft 4 superstars, but we need 4 contributors in the first 4 rounds. You can't be drafting on, well, maybe in 2 years or maybe in 2.5. No, we need 3 of those 4 guys starting. I don't care what position.
I just wonder what's on their draft board, like who the top guy is. And by the way, that's my friend Sarah that pops in here. She's a Vikings fan. She knows her football. Like I said, she's a fun person to talk to.
I wonder how Sarah feels about her defense.
Sarah's defense is going to be good.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, Minnesota, my dad, rest his soul, is a big Vikings fan. And I can hear him now every day. He used to say, oh, knock him off the ball, knock him off the ball, knock him off the ball. The Vikings are they're like right there. They just have something about them, man. They're gonna get there soon,
man. The Vikings right now have the luxury to not only start a rookie quarterback from last season, but they can go out and get another quarterback that's ready to win now, just like Tampa Bay did. And that's called microwaving it, when you know you have both sides of the ball established and you know that you don't have nothing to worry about but under center. And that's a luxury, man. If you have the coaching staff right off the rip, you got the offensive line, you just picked up running game, you got the defense, you got the offense. In less than 4 years, they did that.
What was the guy that left there? Van Ginkel, wasn't he with Miami?
Yeah. Keep bringing up sore spots, buddy.
Why you?
Here we go. Let's pull the Band-Aid off the scab.
Van Ginkel left
nothing like it, Steve. Thanks, buddy.
Well, Van Ginkel left because he wanted to be a starter, not a rotational guy, and he got to start.
Another one didn't want to pay him. Yep.
No, they offered him a contract, but they offered him a contract with the condition of you're going to be a rotational player, and he wanted to play, and he went to Minnesota and he played.
And it was a Pro Bowler.
They pretty much did to him what they did to Calais this year.
Yep. Like I said, we can sit here till we're blue in the face. We woulda, coulda, shoulda. This shouldn't happen. That should happen. This draft is key. Like I said, 3 of our first 4 picks have to be starters. And I'm like my man said, we can't have down the road or probational from functional. No, we need you playing.
How long have we heard that? How long have we heard that? When are we going to break the cycle of hearing that?
Well, hey, I've been the fan since 1970, and since I'd say by 2001, we've had excuses after excuses after excuses.
Well, that's like with us. Are we actually going to draft a receiver in the first round? Since 2002, Javon Walker. Is it going to happen? Now the draft is in Green Bay. Is this the year that we sit there and we pull that plug? Like you said, Russell, we ripped the Band-Aid off the scab.
I say, like the Packers, I mean, we all can sit here. We all have a guy in mind that we would like to see on our team. But then, of course, reality sets in. We all definitely need to fill in needs. The Dolphins' offensive line, I can't go another season with Eichenberg starting at one of the guard spots. They They got Daniels from the Steelers, and that's fine. But if you're going to put him in and not draft someone that's going to be in there and this guy's back, I would have rather had them
save this team this season.
I would have rather had them sign Kendall Lamb back and no way near Eichenberg. But that's what they did.
You know what's funny about Kendall Lamb? At first, I think I'm going to retire. Oh, no, he might go back to Carolina. That's where he's from, and that's what we're hearing. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to a contender.
Contender? He's going to the champs, Philly. Signed with Philly. That's not a contender. That's the champs.
From retiring to playing with the guy that was considered not a good coach.
Yeah, ain't that something, huh?
Sarah's asked if you guys need to replace Armstead. You guys been talking about that.
Yeah, he already retired last night.
Yeah.
Well, we got Patrick Paul, so now we're going to find out what Patrick Paul can actually do because he's the starting left tackle.
Yeah, they didn't draft him second round from Houston for nothing. Now he's out of the frying pan and he's into the fire now. We'll see.
It's going to be interesting.
Like Paul said, and like my man said, you know, for the last 20 years, all we've heard is excuse after excuse after excuse. If Greer messes this up, there'll be fans up in arms, of course. But we have a fan base that, you know, is somewhat delusional at times. I mean, you have to realize that 28 free agents at the end of the season. That hasn't told you that the Dolphins are rebuilding. If you really believe that you're going to the Super Bowl this season, then you need to go to a psychiatrist and lay on that couch and tell them what happened to you as a child in your adolescence, because it ain't happening.
Well, look. Let's be fair here. I mean, it is the NFL, and a lot of injuries do happen. You know, unfortunately, they happen on our end. But if the opposite happened and it helped benefit us, then we can have a shot at contending in the wild card. But I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, you know,
I believe that. Anything can happen. I mean, it's like any given Sunday. But realistically, if you look at our roster, just the free agency and just for the minor signings that they've had, we're putting a Band-Aid over a cut. And it's not a minor cut. It's not a paper cut. But we're hoping with our picks that we can rebuild and replenish our depth. And hopefully, without injury, we can be a contender. Hopefully, if we stay healthy, which hasn't happened.
As much as I crap on them, bro, look, we can compete. We can compete.
Oh, definitely. And there's no doubt about that. Providing we stay healthy and keep our quarterback upright, which I don't understand why we keep acting as though the line ain't key to why our offense hasn't functioned right. Because if most of the sacks that Tua gets is right up the middle, it's through the guard spots. Okay, we addressed one. You got Daniels. Okay, he was physical. Good run blocker, good pass blocker for the Steelers. Now you re-signed Eichenberg. So if hypothetically you don't take a God-type guy in the top 2 rounds, you're going to have him starting. It's not going to work out well.
Okay. It sounds like you want them to trade back, huh, Russell?
I do, so we can get more picks and we can get value. We need guys that are going to help us. We can't have, he'll be good in 4 years. I need, like my man said, 10. I want you in now, and I want to see what you can do. If I'm drafting you first round or second round, I want to see you play. I don't want to have you sitting for 4 years and then you play well for somebody else.
It makes no sense to move back and to get into the late, teens.
Okay, gentlemen, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the conversation.
But it's not the color show. Great show, guys. I appreciate all the conversation. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Peace, love, and fins up, everybody.
Peace, love, and fins up,
man. Nice seeing all you guys, man. Nice talking to all y'all. Fins up.
Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network on Roku and Fire Stick. This is the first place to find all the latest NFL news, trades, and rumors. If you have a Roku or Fire Stick, access your menu and locate the search bar to perform a channel search. Then simply type in Huddle Sports Network. After completing the search, this logo should appear. Then add to your menu and you're good to go. We cover all your football needs, from breaking news to trades and rumors. So join us and enjoy the sport we learn to love so much. So be sure to add Huddle Sports Network to your Roku or Fire Stick menu and keep informed of all your football news and needs. You can also find us on Facebook and of course YouTube. Thanks for supporting our journey and our passion for football.